I am so incredibly sick of this Rashee Rice drama, and I know you guys are too. This might be the final straw for Brett Veach and the Chiefs. Last week, he had a surprise knee surgery. This week, he's sitting in a Dallas County jail cell because he can't lay off the marijuana. Think about that. His rehab timeline is now up in smoke like he is because he's behind bars. The NFL is absolutely going to hammer him with another suspension. You know that's coming. And at this point, I don't even know if he's worth the headache. If Rice isn't even on our roster come week 1, Monday Night Football, when we play the Denver Broncos, I wouldn't even be surprised. It's time for Kansas City to just cut bait, move on, and do something to save our AFC West dominance.
Welcome back to All Chiefed Up. Thanks for being here. So I think to answer that question, Mike, you have to look at a couple of things. Who are they going to bring in here? Stephon Diggs, Keenan Allen, Tyreek Hill? You also have to look, are they going to get rid of Rashee Rice? Because right now, I say there's almost zero chance that they get rid of him. I'd put it at under 5% probably. The kid's too talented, brother. When he's healthy, he's arguably the best pure wide receiver on the roster. We all know he's a yak monster, a middle-of-the-field separator. He's got strong hands. He's physical after the catch. He's on a cheap rookie contract deal, and that's the major thing there, dude. You don't dump premium production on a cost-controlled deal. It just doesn't happen very often. Also, if you look at the Chiefs' history, the organization has historically shown a lot of patience with guys like this. As long as the player is very talented, they're remorseful, or if they're still useful to the Chiefs in winning, which I think Rashee Rice is at this point, if he can be on the football field. Here's the thing with Andy. He always has these guys back in here, tries to give them second chances and third chances. Sometimes the fans don't like that too much, but that just seems to be how Andy does things. Now, if something else were to happen after this, maybe. But right now, because of THC or marijuana, I just don't see them cutting him for that. And also, the other option is, can they trade him? That's very unlikely, dude, because I think right now, he's actually at his lowest value point in the NFL in his career because of his legal baggage. He's got injury questions and reliability concerns. I don't think anybody would want him.
Well, look, Rashee Rice is a problem. He doesn't want to be playing football in Kansas City, obviously, or he would stop doing this shit. Like, it's plain and simple. This dude must have the brain capacity of an ant or something because he just cannot figure out how to make a positive decision in his life. I am tired of condoning his actions. I'm tired of giving him chance after chance after chance that you keep speaking of. Like you just said, if he does something else, when he does something else at this point, he's not proven that he cannot not stay out of trouble. So you know it's coming. If I'm Brett Veach, I'm figuring out a way to get rid of this. So I went back and I looked at some of the CBA rules. His baseline number this year is $6.49 million rookie contract. He's owed about $2 million this year with a base salary of 1.6. Okay, they don't have to worry about cutting him post June 1st or pre June 1st. You're going to save about the same amount no matter what you do. It's going to be about a $431,000 dead cap hit and about a $1.6 million in cap savings. Look, I would almost consider it at this point. Rashee Rice is sitting in a jail cell and he just had some kind of a cleanup surgery on an ACL knee. Now, they did say there was no structural damage, but you have to now take this very seriously. He's not getting all the stuff he needs to be able to recoup from this. He wasn't even supposed to be back in time for OTAs or mandatory minicamp or anything. They were hoping to get him back for the beginning of training camp. And now you may have pushed that all the way back to week 1. And that's not even counting if Roger Goodell is going to bust his ass now with another suspension. They tried to get him the first time. They let the other one slide that his girlfriend come out and charged with a bunch of stuff. And of course they couldn't prove it, but they looked into it. And this dude is just giving them a bad name after a bad name. The NFL does not like that. They're going to make an example. And even if he is good and he does play this year for cheap, who cares? He's probably be suspended for half the season again anyway.
Hey, real quick, just want to thank you guys for being here. Do your boys a favor, hit that like button. Let's try to get this up to 500 likes today on this video. Also, you can scroll over, hit that hype button as well. Let's try to get that to 25,000 and subscribe to the channel. Hang out with us more often.
So he may have ruined his entire career because he's going to have a lot of buildup in that knee and a lot of scar tissue from not being able to get in there and do his rehab every day, because I don't think he can do much sitting in a 10 by 10 jail cell in Dallas County.
Yeah, well, we'll talk more about that knee here in a minute. But here's the thing, dude. I think we kind of all saw this coming. I think it was a couple of weeks ago, he had posted a picture that he was on Bourbon Street.
Oh, damn.
It's something about that just did add up. It's like, here we go, baby. He's out there doing his thing. Something's going to happen here. So, dude, this doesn't surprise me in the least bit. And you look at it from like the lens of he's a 20-something-year-old kid. He's a millionaire. He's out having fun. It's just weed or whatever. Like there's so many different ways to look at it. But the problem with the entire thing is, Mike, is, you live and let live. You let him do his own thing. Let him learn his own lessons, but he doesn't seem to be learning anything, right? Like now it becomes a question of, can the Chiefs rely on this dude at all? Because if there's no reliability, then I think that's where the debate comes up that you have to go look at getting another dude. It brings the urgency up of maybe grabbing a Stephon Diggs or a Keenan Allen or a Tyreek Hill, because you can't rely on Rashee Rice to be on the football field. Like you said, if he misses some games due to suspension, that kind of weakens us out. Now we're looking for Xavier Worthy to step back up and be the number one guy. You're hoping that your young guys, Cyrus Allen, Jalen Royals, can show up and do something. I think this absolutely forces the Chiefs' hand to start looking at one of these veteran wide receivers. However, I don't think you can get rid of Rashee Rice. I just don't think it makes any sense in a business aspect. He's too cheap. He's too good. And if you can even get half of a season out of him and get some production, you do that. Then you just don't give him the next contract.
Yeah, well, you could say that all you want. I don't trust him. I can't trust Rashee Rice right now as far as I can pick him up and physically throw him. And it's not going to be very far because I don't have the guns like I used to. But anyway, I think each of them are really looking at this situation and wondering how they can get out. If you look under the CBA rules, he's going to miss mandatory minicamp. Now, that's going to trigger a lot of strict, unwaivable daily fines that he just can't get out of. Now, maybe since he had the knee surgery beforehand, they can use that as an excuse to be like, well, he had the medical procedure. It doesn't matter that he's in jail. He was going to miss it anyway. You can't do that. So you can't really use that alone to terminate his contract or anything. But what I went digging and found is that under the personal conduct policy violation and his federal felony charges, the Chiefs do not need to use minicamp absence as their lever. It says that because that he was actually in a 2024 car crash, he violated his probation, and now he is in jail. It says that the Chiefs possess standard contractual grounds to void his remaining salary. Under Article 42 of the CBA, if a player is incarcerated or suspended, a team can file a grievance to recoup or proportionate, I'll get that word right in a minute, amount of his signing bonus, which means he has to forfeit some of that. If they want to move on entirely, the legal system has already given them a cause required to strip his guarantees and cut him with minimal financial blowback. So it sounds like to me that the Chiefs are in position that if they want to get rid of him, they absolutely could do it. What you're saying is they just want to win and they don't see the reason to do it, and they're not going to. That's the argument at this point.
There is a reason to do it, but you have to look at it two different ways. It's like, which path do you want to take here? Because business-wise, it only makes sense. Where else are you going to get a wide receiver that's going to give you the production of Rashee Rice for $1.2 million? It's not going to freaking happen. So I think if you look at it through the business lens, there's no way you're cutting this dude over some THC. It's just not happening. Now, you could add on everything else that led up to THC being a problem to where you have to go to jail for 30 days. But if you're just looking at it from that, it's like, we can't cut this dude over weed. So today's giveaway is brought to you by a local staple in Kansas City, Zarda BBQ. If you would like to win that package, make sure you're eligible by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and also leaving a comment down below.
It might be THC, and a lot of people's making that point. Oh, well, it's legal in Kansas. It's legal in Missouri. It's legal in Texas or wherever. Who cares where it's legal? This dude
No one cares
if
these players go out and get drunk every weekend.
It doesn't matter. He committed a crime. They were very lenient on this 5-year probation, and this idiot goes out and fails it. Like, you can't even do that.
100% agree that it's wrong just because you should have been smarter than to break your probation. That's where it comes in. It's like his decision making is still questionable. It's been that way the whole time, and we now see that it still is. But the other side of that, Mike, is do the Chiefs not worry about the production that they could get for Rice on the cheap and just decide to part ways with him? Because we have to start now at getting our culture back to we don't put up with this shit. Because if there's been one crack in this Chiefs dynasty, one thing that I think has trickled and trickled and trickled and kind of made the Chiefs fumble last season and could continue to be a problem, is that these guys can't stay off of TMZ.
Chiefs Kingdom, we have officially partnered with Prize Picks, America's #1 sports picks app. Prize Picks is a daily fantasy sports platform. It's distinctly separate from a traditional sports book, and it's the absolute best way to add some extra heat to every single game. The app is incredibly easy to use. You aren't playing against sharks. You're just picking more or less on an individual player projection. Think Kenneth Walker's total rushing yards per game, more or less. Travis Kelce's total touchdowns in 2026, only 4, more or less. You just pick at least 2 players, lock in your lineup, and you're in the action. Prize Picks is available in most states, including California, Texas, Florida, and right here in the heart of America, Missouri and Kansas. One thing we love is the new public feed. You can actually find and follow us directly on the app at All Chiefed Up. You'll be able to see our live lineups and tell our picks before we even post them here on the channel or our other social media platforms. So if you haven't joined yet, just download the app and use code HMA when you sign up. When you play your first $5 lineup, you're going to get $50 in lineups instantly. Click the link in the description, use code HMA, and remember to always play responsibly. Now back to the show.
They can't stay out of the storylines. There's always some kind of off-field distraction. And it's not just been Rashee Rice. It's been a handful of the other guys as well. We don't want that to be the culture in Kansas City. So you go ahead and you put a stop to it now and use Rashee Rice as your example of how this is going to be going forward. I think that's where you start looking at cutting Rashee Rice. But if you're going to go that route, you absolutely have to go out and make sure that you can land Stephon Diggs or someone like that.
Well, if he can't get back from his knee injury, if that lingers and lingers and lingers, and maybe it sets up more scar tissue and they got to go back and clean it up again because he couldn't rehab it properly, and then that pushes off into the season, and then they suspend him for 8 to 10 to 11 games like they wanted to do last time, and then maybe he don't get to reverse that and plead down a little bit, he could be out all season long. So who gives a shit if Rashee Rice is on this team?
All right,
not?
cool. Look, we don't care. We don't care about that, but let's talk about the impacts of the Chiefs. If you pull Rashee Rice off this team right now and you have no one to replace him, how does that impact the Chiefs going into this season right now? How does their wide receiver room look, and how is their offense going to look? Tell me that.
You know, I'm going to be dead honest here. I don't care. Brett Veach and the Chiefs front office dropped the ball this year by trusting him in the first place. It sounded to me like they just thought he was going to turn it around, and then it looked like next year they may be even considering giving him a nice big old fat contract if he could get through this year without getting in trouble. Surprise, surprise, he couldn't make it a few months. They passed up all their chances to get a high-profile wide receiver in this draft, didn't take it. They had plenty of chances to get a free agent wide receiver, didn't take it. So it's on them. If you want your franchise to look bad, if Clark Hunt wants the Chiefs to keep having Rashee Rice and other players like this to rubbing our logo in the mud and making it look like crap at the expense to get a cheap win here and there, then so be it. But Brett Veach and the team put themselves in this situation. They can figure out a way to get out of it. Restructure some people and go sign somebody off the street for all I care. I'm tired of messing with Rashee Rice, and he's only going to play 5 games anyways, more than likely.
I'm not saying that he would have these kind of implications, but if you looked back after next season and you would cut Rashee Rice, but you dropped games to the Denver Broncos, you dropped games to the Buffalo Bills, you dropped games to the Los Angeles Chargers and the Las Vegas Raiders, and all these games that you should be winning and competing in, and it's because you didn't have a wide receiver target, are you really going to be happy that you let that happen over some weed?
It's not just over weed.
It's not. I understand it's not. I get the whole backstory. But ultimately, if you cut it down bare bones, you're cutting the guy off the team because he failed a drug screen.
I'm cutting a guy that doesn't want to be an NFL player and want to be a nice Chiefs Kingdom piece. He doesn't want to be here. He don't give a shit, or he quit doing this.
I think that's where you're wrong. I think
and
that's
go
where you're
find
wrong.
somebody else. I don't care who it is at this point.
I
Just
think
go
that's
get
where you're
somebody
wrong.
else.
I think Rashee Rice does want to be an NFL wide receiver. I think he does want to be at that level. But here's the problem. I think Rashee Rice has other priorities as well. Trying to hang out with the wrong group of people, trying to look tough and hard and cool for everybody else, and living up to a certain standard that he doesn't have to live up to. He just needs to grow up a little bit. And that's all there is to it. I don't think Rashee Rice is inherently just this bad person. I think that he's probably a good kid at heart, but he's got to start making the right decisions. And we can sit here and throw a fit about it all we want, but the kid's 24 years old or something like that. We all made dumb decisions at 24. It's just he's got to start learning from this stuff. And right now, I understand where you're coming from. It doesn't look like he's picking up what everybody's putting down. He's got to start doing a little bit better.
Brother, there's 24-year-olds out there that do good in life. They change the world. They create vaccines. They do this. They do that. They go help the homeless. They do something. Rashee Rice is out here smoking THC on probation and racing cars down a Dallas interstate, okay? THC, TMZ, I don't even care at this point. Like, I'm just kind of over it. Let's go out and get somebody different. If we lose because we don't have any wide receivers, that's on Brett Veach and the Chiefs. You didn't prepare for it properly. The guys you've been drafting ain't panning out. You didn't hire coaches to develop them properly. I'm sorry. You can't say this entire team hinges on Rashee Rice. If that's the case, we're in trouble anyway before the season starts.
Absolutely. Well, this kind of pushes the Chiefs' hand, though. I think this makes them start looking at these veteran wide receivers. And I know we talked about that a little bit in the last video and probably on some live streams. But what's your suggestion here? If your suggestion is to go out and cut Rashee Rice right now, how are you alleviating that pain? What are you going to do? Like you yourself, if you were GM, are you going to go out and see if you could pay Stephon Diggs enough to come over here for a year? Are you going to see if Tyreek Hill's not damaged goods? Are you going to try to get Keenan Allen even though he's old and slow? How are you solving that problem?
I'm going to go out and try to do whatever I can. At this point, your options are limited. I fully understand that. But you still got Jalen Royals, you got Xavier Worthy, you re-signed back Tyquan Thornton, you drafted Cyrus Allen. So not a great core four right there, probably without Rashee Rice. I fully understand that. A lot of youth, a lot of learning curve. You got to go get somebody in here that can produce immediately. So I don't care if you got to go back and get Juju on the team for cheap just to get him back in here, to get something going. Maybe you go sign Tyreek if he's ready to go. I heard that he's getting ready to wait, to prove that he's ready to come back, and then he's going to sign with a team, but they think that he's going to be back by the first week of the season. Who knows? If you can swindle out a way to get Stephon Diggs, I'm cool with that too. We can also go trade. I think there's a couple good options out there. You may be able to get Xavier Legette off of the Panthers. We've talked about that in a couple other live streams. Is Legette the end-all be-all? No, but it's a young guy that you could possibly work with that could come in. Maybe you can swindle the Browns into trading Jerry Jeudy. I don't know. Go out and get Brian Thomas Jr. They talked about trading this guy all off season. So there's ways to make it work. Brett Veach is just allowing bad decisions, and the fact that he was kicking the can down the road on Rashee Rice, betting on Rashee Rice, and Rashee Rice has let us down time and time again. You can't do it anymore. You're just going to have to come to the realization that, look, I caused this problem because I was too lenient on Rashee Rice in the first place. He's now put us in this problem. I've got to go fix it, or we're just going to have to deal with it for a season and chalk it up to another rebuild year.
You guys get down in the comments. Let us know how you feel about it. Would you want to get rid of Rashee Rice, or you want to hang on to him for now? Also, if they did move on from Rashee Rice, who would you want to replace his role in the offense? Thanks for being here. Do us a favor, hit that like button if you enjoyed today's content. Also, subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 100,000 subscribers, and we need your help. We'll catch you next time. Go Chiefs.